Let's take a look at how we start a text, or what we call a prompt, in ChatGPT. And to understand prompting, let's take a look first at the AI prompt writing structure. This is essentially a structure that highlights some of the key components that you want to include in order to get the best results from ChatGPT. So you'll sometimes hear me call it text, sometimes we'll hear me call it prompt. A prompt is essentially the instruction that you're providing or the question that you are asking of your AI tool. And so there's a couple of components of the structure I want to talk about. Number one, of course, is your goal. Essentially, that answers the question, what do you want from your AI? So what is the specific instruction that you like your ChatGPT to complete, or the question you like it to answer? That one we're all normally quite good at putting in there. The key thing about goal is just making it very specific so that the AI can understand exactly what you're looking for. But then there are these other components that often are missed that can become quite essential to making sure you get the best, most efficient, and most accurate response from your AI tool. I would say second to goal, context is the next most important. And that answers the question, why do you need it and who is it for? Context is where you're essentially saying, hey, this is all of the background information you need to know to understand why I need this instruction completed. And in doing so, you're helping your AI tailor its response to exactly to what you're looking for. So I would say goal and context are the two that you should get in the habit of always including. Now, sometimes you may not always include context because you may not know where to start. I might just need to ask you the question, hey, what are G-forces? I don't know what G-forces are, so I don't necessarily know the context. So for a very basic research question, you don't always need to use context, but I would say get in the habit of including as much relevant context as possible in your prompts. I promise you, you'll get much better results from ChatGPT. Now, the next two are optional, but I do also find that they can really enhance the result that you get. Tone, for example. Tone answers the question, how should the AI respond to your request? And so you can tell your AI, hey, write me a blog post about Zumba and its health benefits, and make sure to write it in a way that's friendly and engaging. When you include those components of tone, again, you are influencing the way that ChatGPT responds to you. And in this case, you're actually giving it pretty clear instructions as to what you're looking for. Now, could ChatGPT have written a blog post that was friendly and engaging on its own? Absolutely. But it may not know that's what you're looking for. It may think you want it to be a very analytical, very professional, scientific-based blog post, and it might give you that result. So tone will help you make the determination, and you tell your AI, hey, this is how I want you to respond. And then last but not least is source, which answers the question, what information should your AI utilize in its response? And more importantly, where should it pull its data from? Oftentimes when it comes to AI responses, there's a lot of concern when it comes to bias, when it comes to misinformation. One of the ways to mitigate that is to actually make sure that you're inputting clean data into your AI and telling it to pull its results from it. So instead of saying, hey, pull this information, or write this blog post for me, in which case ChatGPT is going to try to utilize data that it pulled from articles and websites and all that, you can say, hey, create this blog post about the health benefits of Zumba in a fun and engaging tone, and use my Excel spreadsheet where I kept track of all the charts on users that use Zumba and their heart rates, for example, something very like that. In doing so, I'm now telling ChatGPT specifically where I want it to get its data from, and that's one way that I can ensure we can help mitigate some of those risks that come from a system that's trained on billions and trillions of parameters there. So again, you won't always need to utilize all four in your prompt writing structure, but it is good to get in the habit of using them interchangeably, and I think specifically goal and context are crucial. So with that understanding, let's take a look at how we start a chat. And to start a chat, we navigate over to ChatGPT, we click on our prompt box here, and then we input our prompt. So let's actually use our blog post example. So create a blog post, and here you can see some of those predictive text here that we were talking about that you could enable or disable in the settings. Create a blog post about the health benefits of Zumba. Please write in an engaging and friendly tone. So here is an example of a prompt. It contains a clear goal and it contains a tone. So it utilizes 2 out of the 4 parts of our AI prompt writing structure. We can even add a bit more information to beef this up. Let's add some context to be more specific. So now let's add some context related to our audience. So this is not just a blog post about health benefits of Zumba generally. I wanted to focus on for people aged 50 and up. So now I'm telling ChatGPT to focus on a specific demographic of people. That's, again, is going to allow it to tailor its response to me and make it a bit more specific. If I had just left it as the health benefits of Zumba, it would give me a very general response. It would probably cover a wide variety of different age ranges, which is great content, but I want this blog post to be specifically for my folks who are 50 and up. And so I'm going to put it in there, and now ChatGPT knows that, and it'll tailor its response. So here we utilize goal, we utilize context and tone. Let's go ahead and take a look at how ChatGPT responds. So we'll send that off. You can see this icon pops up, which means that ChatGPT is thinking, is processing. And depending on what the actual assignment was, it may take a little longer for it to respond. Also, sometimes the system can get a bit overloaded. So if you don't see the response coming in right away, just give it some time. I will say that ChatGPT Plus and the 4 Omni model is really great to giving you some quick answers. And you can see it's already building out the blog post for me here. So we got Feel Good Fitness, the health benefits of Zumba for adults 50 and up. Looking for a workout that feels more party than a chore. So you can see here, it's really trying to pull in that friendly, very engaging tone. It's trying to bring in the audience. Let's break down why Zumba might be your favorite way to stay active and feel fabulous doing it. And here is going to detail some of those key benefits. So it boosts heart health without making it feel like exercise. It's a brain booster. Low impact options keep joints happy. And so again, here's where we can see an example of where ChatGPT is keeping the demographic, the target audience in mind. Many Zumba instructors offer Zumba Gold, a lower impact version of the traditional class that's specifically designed for older adults. If we had just kept that answer generic without that context, maybe ChatGPT would have included it, but it might not have. But because we specified the target audience, it made sure to include specific health benefits for adults in that age range there. And you can see here it built out the entire text for me. And then from there, I can go ahead and ask some more questions. I can go ahead and iterate my response. I can give ChatGPT feedback on whether or not I thought its response was good or not. And especially for my users who are getting the hang of using ChatGPT, please utilize this feature. Whenever you tell ChatGPT that it's a good response or a bad response, again, you are influencing how it learns. If it's a bad response, it might ask you, okay, what made this a bad response? And then you're essentially teaching it why it was a bad response. When you give it feedback on a good response, it's now taking note and adding to its memory the way that you like it to respond to you. So highly recommend, whether you're a first-time user, whether you've been using ChatGPT, provide that essential feedback there. And then one little quick tip that I like to highlight when it comes to prompting that not everyone is familiar with, you can actually, let's say, if I just type in the prompt box here, I'm responding to the entire blog post, right? Let's say I just want to highlight a specific part. Let's go back to that Zumba Gold. I want to learn a little bit more about Zumba Gold here and what that means. You'll notice that if I highlight that specific part of the text or any text here, we get these little quotation marks. And if you click on that, it actually enables a reply. So down below, you'll see here that it actually put in that text that we highlighted. And now I can actually reply to that specific component of it. So let's practice this. I'm going to highlight Zumba Gold, hit reply, and then I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you provide an example of a class structure for Zumba Gold as compared to a regular high intensity Zumba class? So I highlighted that specific text. I want to reply directly to it. And now I'm asking ChatGPT to give me an example of a class structure for Zumba class as compared to a more higher intensity Zumba class. And I get that answer there. So that's a great way if you want to focus on a particular part of the text and not just the overall response. Highlight it, hit those quotation marks, and hit reply. But here you can see a little bit about how we utilized the AI prompt writing structure. And you also saw an example of how, with our knowledge of predictive text and contextual understanding, how ChatGPT responds to our text there as well.